This is the Darkwood. Story 2. I know whatever it wasn't human. Submitted by Princess LXIX. It was about a year ago. Bad things started to happen more frequently than they used to, but I never minded it much. I knew I was safe, and I knew what to do in certain situations from experience and research. I'm a 16-year-old girl, by the way. Footsteps had been getting closer. Voices and whispers been getting louder. The knocking from inside started getting harder and closer. And then, all of a sudden, they stopped. And there was a stillness for a few days, like the calm before the storm. I went to my grandmother's house to get away from the bad feelings. I always felt safer there, and they're very religious and holy people. It was my last day over there, and I had a chill creep up my spine. The lights flickered, and on the wall was a huge black spider. It was about 12:45. I hadn't been there for 2 seconds, and when I looked to grab a shoe to crush it, I noticed it was staring directly at me. Then once I went to grab the shoe, when I looked back, it was gone. I was freaked out now, not just because it was a spider on the loose, but because the bad feeling that went up my spine. When I went to sleep, I kept dreaming of a screaming baby, and my mother. I couldn't see anything in the dream, but I could hear them. Needless to say, when I woke up, I was ready to go home and check on them. All my paranormal experiences, no one ever around me had one too. Nothing ever happened to my family or anyone close to me. Just me. I got home and my mother was on the couch. She looked tired. She had circles around her eyes. I sat by her and she told me she had a bad dream. Of course, I had her tell it to me that night. She was about to go to sleep with her head at the bottom of her bed. She was hot. She has a lot of hot flashes because she was 5 or 6 months pregnant at the time. She cracked her door open. She could feel the air conditioner in the living room. She got in her bed and fell asleep. She said she was dreaming, but wasn't sure because it felt too real for a dream. Even a realistic one. She woke up and was groggy, and her eyes were adjusting to the darkness. She looked at her door, which she had cracked before she went to sleep. It was wide open now, and the darkness was a figure. She felt a chill down her spine and stared at it. She couldn't tell if it was real or if her eyes were playing tricks on her. But then it moved, taking a big, long step closer. She wanted it to be a nightmare. She wanted it to be a dream. So she closed her eyes. That didn't stop it though. It came in her room. She could feel the presence above her. She said she could feel its breathing on her, but it was too scared. She was too scared to move and didn't want to open her eyes. It was standing above her. She said it touched her. Now she wanted to move, but she couldn't. She said she felt too heavy, like something weighed on her. Its nails traveled up from her foot to her leg and stopped on her stomach. She screamed, and when she did, it laughed and disappeared. She didn't sleep after that. I knew it wasn't a dream, and I pieced a few things together too. This was the storm. That spider at 12:45 was just a bad omen, the warning of what would happen to my mother at 12:25. I just didn't realize it. I went to my room to talk to someone. Well, actually, a spirit. One who stays around me and watches over me. His name is Z. I told him what happened, but he had no answer for it. That night I laid in my bed. My mom and sister stayed asleep in their rooms. But yet I heard footsteps in our kitchen. I heard cabinets close like someone was trying to get something. It scared me. I was going to lie, so I called a friend. He answered and told me, "Be calm and just do what you always do." And he hung up. I heard scratches while we were on the phone before he did, though. My closet door and my name being called. He told me, "Just do what you always do." That just kept peering in my head. I felt a bit of dread, though. It was as if I was being abandoned. Why did he leave? He couldn't just stay on the phone a bit longer. But it was understandable. I probably would have done the same. It was about 3:02, and I heard my name being whispered in my ear to the right of me, towards the door, but I paid it no mind. I was watching my favorite movie, and I wasn't going to be bothered by something that just wanted to scare me. And I wasn't going to let anything happen to me. But it persisted. After calling my name didn't work, and I thought it stopped. I saw a dark, small figure move from behind me to behind my television. My bed and television were on the floor, and it ran past the stack of DVDs next to it. I froze. I didn't follow it with my eyes. Instead, I remained calm as I could be and spoke to it. I told it stop, that it wasn't scared. It wasn't going to scare me, and I wasn't going to let it do anything to me. I told it I knew it wasn't powerful enough to manifest to touch me, and that it wouldn't hurt me. I was being a little too cocky at that moment. I continued watching television, and I heard a thud from behind me. And at 3:08, I paused. I paused the TV and turned around. It was nothing there, so I unpaused and continued watching. But then, all of a sudden, I got rather dizzy. Like a wave of nausea and dizziness hit me hard. My head. I fell to my pillow, and I just stared at the wall and cuddled my teddy bear until all of a sudden I was fine. But I heard my door open. I tried to sit up, but no part of me would move at all. Only my eyes. I felt paralyzed and heavy. I tried to speak, but I couldn't move my mouth. I tried to scream, but no sound would come out. I was terrified. I'd never experienced that before. I heard it walking closer as I heard my television. That's how I knew I wasn't asleep. My television was still playing on the same part I left it on. I heard my stack of DVDs be messed up and hit. I couldn't move to see what was happening, though I only had a wall to stare at and my ears to hear. It was getting hard to breathe because I was panicking. I couldn't stay calm anymore. And I don't remember how, but I found a way to calm down. I wouldn't give it the satisfaction of having me scared. That's what I thought, until I heard its voice. I'm tearing up now just thinking about it. It was the most terrifying experience of my life. I always had my doubt. Always thought maybe I was crazy. And I imagined this stuff. But I couldn't imagine a voice like that. It was deep and raspy. It spoke another language it wasn't at all familiar with. I let out a whimper. Finally, I thought. The first sound I had been able to make since it came into my room. But then I couldn't feel it. I could feel it staring at me. I could hear it walk in front of my bed. And knew it stood right over me. I wanted to scream so badly. It felt like I could, but I was too scared to. I just laid there. Then it touched me. It touched my head with something sharp. I'm almost positive it was a hand. And then I couldn't feel anything all over again. It felt like it was trying to take me over, which is the same as my mother told me when it happened to her, when it touched her stomach. I had no control over my body and felt like it was being cast out, like I was being cast out of my own body. And for a second, I was out, and it was like I was looking down at myself. This claw, black hand touching my head, but then I was back in me, staring at the wall, unable to move all over again. And I know this sounds crazy and really hard to believe, but I swear to you, it is 100% true. I didn't know what to do. It started speaking again, angry words. though I had no idea what it was saying. But I know it sounded pissed. I remember thinking to myself, what if I could talk to it? What if I try? How do I try if I can't move? Then I thought, try. I thought, this demon may have my body, but I will never let it fully take me. I still have my mind. I will not let this demon get the satisfaction. So I spoke to it in my head. Who are you? It didn't expect a response, or at least, not how I got it. In the same deep voice, in English. My name, I am something. It started with an M. I honestly don't remember its name. What do you want from me? I got braver. It answered again, but in that language I don't know. It started yelling at me. So I asked it again. This time it answered yelling, "Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!" Then it went back to yelling in its language. I yelled back, "Leave me alone! Leave me alone! Leave me alone!" It screamed so loud. I just knew it wouldn't wake up. I just knew it would wake up my mom. My scream, I was a bit relieved, but I also felt bad. It was gone. I looked at my TV, still playing, and the DVDs scattered on the floor. I tried to stand, but I fell, so I crawled out of there into my mother's room, like my life depended on it, which I'm quite certain it did. It woke her up. She asked me what was wrong, and I told her I just had a bad dream, and I went to sleep with her. Thankfully, she said okay. Then she woke my sister up, take her to the bathroom. She turned on her light, and the hallway light, the bathroom light. So I took this as my chance to get my blanket and pillow from my room, without being alone, at least. I went in my room and turned on the light, because it was pitch black. Funny, because I never turned off the movie. My bed was made, my DVDs were put back in stacks how I liked them, and the DVD player was turned off. I never make my bed. And when I crawled out, the blanket was on the floor because it was on top of me and it fell off. I'm scared of the dark. Always have been. Because of the things I see in the dark. The things I hear. The things I always sleep with the TV and DVD player on. I always sleep with them on. For the sole purpose of, it's not as dark as it could be. But both of them were off. And I had just a look. Just a single look. But I know I'm not crazy. My DVDs were scattered across the floor. I heard them being messed with, and then I saw what happened to them. Yet they were back. It was all before I left from my mother's room. Neither stacks have been out of my room. I told my mom what happened that night. the next day. Now we won't even speak about it. Or at least, she won't. She is trying to forget. Me, on the other hand, I can't forget. Not that voice. I can't forget how I couldn't have my own body for at least 5 seconds. And I damn sure can't forget how it spoke. How I spoke to it. That wasn't the last time something crazy happened to me, but it definitely will always be the most memorable and most terrifying. Until next time, please submit more stories and like and subscribe. Now, good night, you monsters.